Hello, welcome to this week's Spirit Coffee Talk. We dive in this week by pulling cards and kind of going into the energy of new moon, all the retrograde planets, how to navigate the energy through that, taking a little personal inventory, and we have a lot of fun. Not everything goes as planned this week, but we do have a lot of fun. So grab your coffee and I hope you enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spirit Coffee Talk. I'm Lisa Richmond and my friend Ginette Byro and Elyse Cathray. We come together every Friday for our gathering, having coffee and talking about all things spirit and what's kind of going on for the week and the energy that is happening around us right now. So welcome, everybody, and let's just dive in. This week we were kind of just gathering beforehand, just talking about kind of what we were feeling and what was going on with us. And we thought maybe this week we'd like to just pull some cards and talk about what Spirit has guided us to share with you today through cards. So let's kick it off. Ginette, do you want to talk about the cards you pulled and what that looks like?
You betcha. So we have this really, oh my gosh, let me back up here. We have a really amazing month in store this month. We have a lot of movement happening this month, and it's really going to pick up at the end of the month. So after October 18th, and that's because a lot of the planets, 5 of the 7 that are currently in retrograde right now, are going direct. So when planets move from retrograde, which makes you feel more stuck, stagnant, held back, when they move direct, that means there's a lot of movement forward, which means a lot of energy to manifest from, a lot of energy to create, to bring your intentions to life. And this is an exciting thing because, as we've been talking about, we're creating these new templates right now of where, like, how the world can be, how we can be in the world, and we're co-creating that. So we're not just finding old templates, we're making new ones. And so with this new moon that happened this week in Libra, it's all about balance. And so one of the messages that I really got from Spirit, tuning in through some cards, was about really coming face to face with what we consider to be our burdens right now. Like, what are the burdens? What are the things holding you back? What is troubling you? We could call it triggers, but it came through the burden card. And so I really felt like honoring that word, right? Because sometimes something can be a trigger, but something can also be a burden. And that's the ones that have been hanging around for a long time. Maybe the ones that just kind of keep simmering there in the pot. And you're like, I think I'm ready to get rid of this pot, right? And so this moon, I think, is really asking us with a beautiful, gentle energy to look into that pot one more time. Maybe you've looked at it so many times, but it's like, you know what? Go over there and look into it one more time and see what's there. And then see if you want to choose the same course of action with that pot. Are you going to keep it simmering? Or do you feel like you're ready to take it off the stove? Or are you actually wanting to take that pot outside? Because you know what? You're kind of over it. And so, choice, yeah, right? Choice really comes into play a lot right now with this moon. And so we can be manifesting with this all the way up until the full moon. So even all the way up until after October 18th, so that by then we're letting go of these burdens, clearing things up, making choices as they pertain to us now, so that when everything goes into movement, like serious movement, we are already in flow with how we want that to be. So that's what I got off the cuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
Here's
Feels really inspiring.
here's a couple things that came up as you were talking, which is kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
Is first of all, okay, so the new moon, and generally speaking, like working with the cycles of the new moon can be a time of like reflection and really like looking at what you want, what you don't want, planting new seeds, kind of like it's like the mulling time. And then the full moon is usually the action, right? It's like harvesting everything that you've planted in new moon kind of thing, and it's the action of the all the actual like doing of the manifestation, right? And here's the cool thing. So you're talking about the 18th is when the planets start, like, like we move out of retrograde for 5 of the 7. So that's going to be big. That's going to be a big movement forward. So in the retrograde, it's kind of like we can almost align that with the time of like sitting back and like mulling it over and like going through inventory and that kind of stuff without the action. Right? Because I feel like doing a lot, trying to do a lot before it's like mulled over and you're like feeling it, can result in some frustration if it's not like if you haven't actually gone through your inventory yet. And the full moon is actually on the 20th, which is 2 days after that. So that's like really allowing that action part to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing too, they were saying about sometimes the burden. Okay, this is neat because the burden that we're carrying a lot of the time, that is like now it's like time to like, whether you want to bring it with you or whether you want it to be gone, it's not always what's right in front of you. The burden might not always be the exact trigger that's right in front of you. The thing right in front of you could be the thing that's illuminating what the actual burden is, right? So it's like it's not actually your husband that is the burden. I use that as an example, but it's like the underlying feeling of, the safety part of it, or the instability, or like what it is at the root cause rather than the representation that you're seeing right in front of you. And
Mm-hmm.
spirit keeps saying what they're doing right now, which is interesting because people are talking about these like really vivid dreams they're having. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times these dreams can be a representation of where the burden started from. So if you're dreaming about like old people or like time in your life when you're like, oh, I didn't have kids yet, and it was like when I was 20 and I was like partying with this person, it can be like whatever that dream, they're trying to bring it through on the subconscious level to bring it through on a conscious level so that you're not actually thinking that it's like right, identifying like this is the burden right in front of you. That's the representation of it. That is what is bringing it forward for us. But like we can go in and start like really like intuiting, and like your intuition will be heightened in this time, in this mulling time. Like go in, take a minute and find out what it is at the root cause of it so that you can bring it forward to then release by like new moon. So use this time to go in and illuminate what it is, take your inventory. And they showed me, like just like what you were saying, a train.
And we are back. Maddie is joining us, as you can see in the right of Ginette's corner. We had some technical difficulties. Not really sure what happened, but the Zoom gods, just like Facebook, said, nope, you guys are done for a little bit. So we are back, and I'll turn it over to Lisa, pick up where she left off.
Yeah, I think the Zoom gods were like, you're cut off, Lise. You're done. No, okay. So I was just talking about, going over your inventory and seeing what you want to bring with you. So essentially the new moon is like your resting time, thinking what you want to bring, and then and the full moon is go time. So what they showed me in a visual was like a train station. And so right now we're at the train station, and like you're going on the train, and it's about the journey. And they said the train is going to like full moon. Okay, it's going to like the 20th of October. So right now is your opportunity to look down at all the luggage you have, and you can't bring it with you. Like it's like, nope, way too much stuff. So it's time for you to take a serious inventory about what you want to bring with you, and how it will actually serve you. So it's like downsizing. Like you're going through stuff and you're saying like, okay, I brought this along with me for a really long time, but it's doing nothing for me anymore. If anything, it's just weighing me down. And so, like, take a look at that, let it go, and then really be conscious where you get to choose. You are given the gift of here's some control back in your life when you felt a little bit out of control by taking with you exactly what you want, and then being a conscious, like, chooser of how that is going to help you move forward. And so you're given the gift of choosing exactly what you want to bring forward with you through your manifestation process and what you want it to look like at the end of October. And that's why that's really your gift. It's your ticket. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
I love that. My cards were really in line with that and really in line with what Ginette pulled. So I pulled from a different deck. And what came through for mine was the Raven Spirit, which is all about truth. And so I kind of see that similar to what you were just saying, Lisa, about looking at your baggage, but also the burdens of, you know, taking some time to reflect truly on what is in my life and what do I want to, like, what's serving me and what's not serving me, and getting really real with ourselves on that. And I think something that I've been kind of seeing with other folks and within my own experience in the last couple of days is doing that really from a self-reflective place too. So not just from the perspective of like, oh, I want a different job, or I want to lose weight, or I want to get stronger, or I want to manifest abundance, or whatever it is, like those kind of physical things, totally okay to have that. But the understandings that I've been getting are really around kind of that going inward, and Libra is an emotional one and can be very kind of introspective in some ways. And so yeah, I'm really getting a sense of doing that inventory and having some honest conversations with yourself about what might you be perpetuating, what might you be continuing to carry along with you, and the way that you show up in the world that's just not serving you or the people in your life anymore. The next card I got was meandering path or flow. So again, echoing what you said around understanding those things, what's coming up. Hey, Mary. And we're best friends. So she just was coming in to say hi. Understanding what's coming up, but then like allowing yourself to be with it and settle into it a little bit, and moving through it and making peace with it. I am not a big proponent of forcing or judging our feelings or, pushing things away, but I think there can be a lot learned in just sitting with things and allowing ourselves to experience them and reflect on them and letting it kind of flow. And then the last card was fire spirit or energy, which is really all about taking action. It's about movement. So similar to what you were saying, Lisa, about how we're kind of up until the 18th and then planets go direct. And then we've got the full moon on the 20th. It's like we'll kick into a little bit more action and fiery energy towards the end of the month.
Right. And that action is dependent upon how you've lined up your stuff to get there.
Totally.
So either you've got like a clear road and you're like directed and you're not way down, or you're going to be a little bit Stevie stumbling because things are still caught up in it, right?
Mhm.
So it's like you really are given the gift of choosing right now too. It's time, like it's inventory time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But doing inventory kind of sucks, right? Like, let's be honest, right? And any job that we've ever done or anything, it's like, oh, we have to come in to do inventory. Like, oh,
Mhm.
right. But it's kind of like, it's one of those things. It's not always pleasant. And we don't really want to always look into these burdens that are weighing us down all the time. And it's like, mm, you know,
Mhm.
makes me feel
Hey, I have to say too, it's funny because we're talking we're talking about burdens and doing inventory, which isn't fun. But I'm holding back from laughing. When we had the glitch happen, I just started getting these giggles and I was like, where's this coming from? And it's not stopping. So I tuned in and I was like, where is this coming from? Kind of help me out, guys. And I've got the three guides of the light, but I also have some Pleiadians, which if you guys aren't familiar with what Pleiadians are, I would imagine most of you watching this are, but they are just higher ascended beings from the Pleiades star system. Um, anyways, they're all coming through as this group with humor. And I'm like, why are you guys using humor? I've known Pleiadians to use humor. The three guides do sometimes, three guides of light, but not always. They're usually pretty direct. But there's this huge, like, bubble of humor coming through. And I'm like, why are we laughing? Right? You know, when you catch yourself laughing and you're like, yeah, what? Wait, why are we laughing?
Yeah.
And it's like, they're saying with this concept of inventory right now, they're like, you can do inventory through stress, energy, through burden, through heaviness, or you can like crank on some music, have some fun, have some snacks, make it lighthearted, and do your inventory with joy and laughter. And that's this energy that they're like washing around. And they're saying that energy is available for anybody at any time right now because we actually have a lot of good things coming. So this movement that's coming by the 18th has a ton of positivity with it. It's not just movement into like deeper, darker, more burdens, guys. Like, here we go, another layer of what the actual.
Deeper.
It's like, if we choose, again, like you were saying, Lisa, if we choose to step up and clear a lot right now, we can then be swimming in the pool of like joy, happiness, fun, humor, lighthearted, versus stumbling over all the stuff that we didn't quite work to clean up. It doesn't mean we have to have it done perfectly, but it's going to change the energetic signature from where we're looking at. And if we are open, we can then move through the end of the year with a lot of lighthearted laughter, because they're saying it's time to bring back joy. It is so time on our planet, collectively and in self, to bring back joy. And that's part of not taking everything so seriously.
That's and so, why I asked you when you were doing your cards before we started recording. I'm like, did you get joy?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, totally. And so it makes a lot of sense, which is why I was wanting to giggle, is because they're like, do you want to do inventory by being serious and bored and monotonous? Or do you want to crank some tunes, have some fun with your friends, and do your inventory and like step up?
Right.
Which is really quite cool. So I love that insight of positivity coming in.
Totally.
That's exciting.
I feel like I can feel the lightness. There's a difference, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say really quick too is, just like Facebook had a glitch and Instagram, the internet has had some glitches. Zoom here today just had some glitches. That's when the laughter came in, because they're laughing at that stuff. Because these things are all changes in frequency. So I'm going to see if I can explain what I see. That as the frequency on the planet is changing, the systems that belong to the old frequency don't harmonize the same. And electronics are something that carry frequency really easily. And so when it changes, we'll see more glitches in electronic-based things. And if you're noticing these like sequential things that occur of glitches, let that be your indicator of how consciousness or frequency is actually changing more rapidly now. Again, another really good sign.
Yeah.
So another thought there.
And there's a bit of unknowingness in between the frequency moves. So it's almost like, okay, this might be way out there too, but like the time in between. So when like timelines are moving and frequencies moving, it's like the stillness of the time in between can be filled with, it's like empty space almost. Does this make sense? So it's like, use that opportunity to fill all empty space with as much joy and laughter and fun, because you get to choose what that frequency looks like. So like as you're moving through frequencies and kind of like moving through time, and it's like, that's why it feels a little glitchy, you can actually fill that in between time, in between space, with fun.
Yeah. Totally. Bring back the fun.
Bring back the fun.
Yeah. How about you, Elyse?
I feel like I'm like not here. I don't even know. I woke up this morning feeling like physically really not great, and kind of caught me off guard. And I have been kind of sitting with that a little bit, because the understandings, and I'm going to apologize right off the bat because I feel like words are just not on my side today. I get this for the experience that I'm having, and kind of the understanding that I'm getting is that as things come up, so for instance, I'll use how I'm feeling today. I woke up with a really bad headache. I'm having a bit of an endometriosis flare, kind of unexpectedly. And I was like, oh, it's on the new moon. That's weird. Like I wasn't supposed to have that. It doesn't kind of match with the timing. Hey, Matt, again. See, best friends. And the understanding that I got just now, and I really haven't even dug into it for myself because I have been feeling so not awesome today, is that pay attention to physical things, emotional things, stuff that comes up over the next couple days, because that, especially if it's like, where is this coming from? This feels really random. It's really coming up for you to get into the truth of it, to get into the burdens of it, to understand why maybe you're carrying it. So that then we can surrender and move into those manifestation practices and really move forward with that lighter energy. And then the other kind of piece that was coming in when you guys were talking about joy was Brene Brown, who does a lot of work around vulnerability, and she's an amazing speaker. If you haven't watched any of her videos, I would highly recommend them because they're informative and really engaging. And in one of her first like videos that went viral, she talked about how studies now show that we can't selectively numb our emotions. So we can't avoid the hard feelings, the things that we would say, the bad emotions, the negative emotions, whatever. If we avoid those and try and numb or disconnect from them or not allow them to fully manifest themselves, we also will numb the joy and the happiness. And all of the emotions exist on a spectrum. So, you know, maybe the spectrum is from here to here, but you don't want to feel the really tough stuff. So then it comes in from here to here. So you're not fully feeling expressed joy because you're not allowing yourself to fully feel the expression of sadness or anger or whatever it is that is coming up. And so as you guys were talking about joy, they were saying like, the more you allow yourself to kind of shift into those burdens and actually like pull the stuff out of the suitcase, look at it, do I want this? Sit with it, feel into the memories around it or what is present with it. And then as you start to actively let that go, the more when you try and create and bring in and feel that joy, or when you notice it coming in because of circumstances around you or whatever, the more you will fully embody and fully experience the joy and the happiness. And it's like, they both will just become easier to access and move through with a lot of flow, rather than having to feel like, oh, I have to like force myself to sit in the hard stuff. And then I have to find things and do things that are going to make me feel joy, because I don't feel joy at all right now, because everything's kind of just like in the middle. So it's just that remembering that everything is a spectrum with this. And the more you allow yourself to hold space and dig into those burdens and really feel your feelings, the more that joy energy will, and that joy emotion will really fill you up and be fully expressed and experienced.
I love that. That's great. And she is such a great reference. Like, there's so much to be learned from the studies she's doing, but also the perspective she brings, whether you agree with them or not. It's more about like the willingness to explore how that fits for you or what it brings up in you and stuff like that. I think that's great. That willingness piece, for sure. Well, any other thoughts to leave everyone with?
I just got a little thing to say that there was only 3 videos of people dancing last week.
Mine I actually recorded this morning.
Oh,
I did a little bit of a different take. So if you haven't, I'll post it in the Spirit Coffee Talk or the Avalon Spirit Facebook group.
Okay.
awesome. Sure. And that really, honestly, the whole dancing thing goes with that joy factor that they're talking about, that laughing joy factor. I mean, like, Lisa, you had a dance off with your sweet little monkeys at home. I turned my smudging into a dancing machine. And Kristen, who posted hers, like, she rocked out a post-workout dance, which was awesome, right? Like, joy comes so often and so easily, sometimes from movement and music.
I was kidding about posting it. Not everybody has to post it, but I hope that at least maybe some people have tried. Dance, like tried to move their body a little bit more freely, and even just explored and was a bit curious about that too. So I'm just giving you a hard time about posting, but I hope everybody's just trying it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Okay, well, I guess we will leave it at that for this week. See what comes. And yeah, if you guys haven't already, do check out avalonspirit.com for lots of products. And I mean, we've got bracelets and malas to help you carry energies you want around you, divine ceremony kits, but we also have the personal journey guides, which we all are a part of to help you on your journey of ascension. So definitely check it out, and do like and subscribe to our YouTube page here and share the videos if you're liking what you're seeing.
And some feedback too, like even on the Avalon Spirit Facebook page, or even on the comments below, like what do you want to see more of? What's working, what's not working? Like give us some feedback, let us know what you're thinking. And even if you want us to touch on some topics that you're curious about, if you've heard us talk about that you're like wanting us to dive into, yeah, let us know. Like we want to work with you and see what's working and what you guys are interested in knowing more about. So
Yes.
feedback.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving too this weekend.
Yeah.